Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Islands of Insight. So we are on this vaulted heights location in Enclave, and it just has a massive amount of stuff to do. Here it is. Just a massive amount of puzzles, and I wonder if that isn't just going to be the case for the last remaining 5 enclaves for this game. Of course, the majority of that is still these logic puzzles, which we can't make any dark squares, and this needs to C7 and this needs to C7, so inherently wouldn't that have to be that and that? And then this needs to C7. They introduced, frankly, too many functions to begin with. And so I think that is probably that. And then that is probably that. And then you do that. And then you probably just work your way around for that. So, yeah. We're doing 2 things at the same time here. There are more puzzles to be done. And see, if I kind of go over to do this, then that probably builds in an issue. So that's probably true, but can't be true. So that's an interesting thought. How can one of these see 1 extra and this one not see 1 extra when they're already maxed out at this direction? So you can't do that because as soon as you swap colors, the other color blocks the view. It screams that something weird has to be going on. Let's see. So we're trying to move things around here in such a way. I guess that could increase our levels. So you do something like that, and that only leaves this as an issue. One here solves those 2 problems. Otherwise, 1 here. Otherwise, 1 here. Otherwise, 1 here. Which then... yeah. So then that would just leave that. These are high-level puzzles, so pretty obviously there is a element where these puzzles could take for a very long time. Really isn't too much. Well, I spoke too soon, didn't I? You would almost think that this was the entirety of the puzzles also. Okay. But then, like, there's no way this can't be right. It's either that is right, and then that would make it 6. So that has to be right. So that has to be wrong. Which maybe means something along that lines. Guess that works. Then at best it goes that way, which that would kind of change things, so I imagine it probably makes a lot more sense to go that way. Do that, do that. Why am I off? Okay. Perhaps it is smarter to do something like this, though. Yeah. This really could just, and very likely is going to be just a couple of hours straight of running into more of these puzzles, doing pretty much the same thing. And the connecting all light cells element on this, honestly, I don't think really plays that big of a factor. Yeah. This one sees 4, this one sees 4, this one sees 5. So that's where this is going to play a role. Now this one sees 4. This one can see 4. Then it would have to do that. And if that's going to do that, then that one has to see, has to connect here. And I believe that is probably everything. Except for we have some connections here, which we can cheat that way. Probably cheat that way to solve that problem. But we are going to have to come down this way for that. Which means at least one of these has to be white. Yeah, we have to connect all the light cells. Which does put us back to something like this. It's the only thing that makes sense. Otherwise, put one here and you break that. Which means that has to be there. Which means probably something along that lines has to be there. And it's probably something along that line has to be there. Of course, I'm running into massive issues now with this 4. That would be correct at that spot. That would be wrong at that spot. And then that would break into that issue. I think that just makes that even worse. There's just no way around this. You've got to stop that one. Well, inherently at the last episode I was using foresights quite a bit, and I definitely think I once again am going to be ending up doing a lot of that. It just doesn't make sense any other way, like to waste that much time. So if we like know that is dark, then that means at least that much is correct. Which that touches that. But it is also looking in such a direction. I guess you could black that out. And then what's the next step? Black that out. Guess that was it. Look around here and see if there's anything hidden sneaky. It is a lot of the same thoughts as far as yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's a lot of the same thoughts as far as what you have to do to find the hidden pentads. You're usually looking upwards, or you're looking downwards, hidden in some kind of curvature. This is kind of a unique one in that it's artistically placed. And they are placed in thoughtful places, usually, but often it is just in a alcove or something. It's not so much in the hands of a statue. There is an odd split here as far as the amount of human feeling architecture that's in this world, considering how dead the world feels otherwise. Okay. This is right. This is literally only seeing 2, so I don't know why this is not considered correct here when everything else turned to green. Because there is a gray spot here I missed. Then just a little bit more cleanup is needed. Unfortunately, when we do see architecture that looks man-made, it doesn't feel like it really matters. And it's not playing towards any... This is going to be sucky. Okay. Here's the entrance. We'll struggle to find where we were. Oh well, there's so many things to do. And I do feel like the game is still fairly frame ratey. More than it really should be. And this is a simpler puzzle, so it's not really asking the same thing that the puzzles we were doing before were asking. In a lot of ways it feels like these enclaves are designed in such a way that they could have been bigger things themselves. That goes there, then that has to go there. That can go there. That has to be that, and that has to be that. And that is certainly very believable that there would be a level of design here where you would get out the sizes would overlap. It is also possible that every enclave in this game was supposed to be its own open world, and this was never really supposed to be islands per se. We did that. Did that. There's no way to get to 8 unless we were going to go all the way that direction. One, two, three. Then this overshoots that. And then the 7 isn't anywhere close, it needs this. Which then would almost mean it needs that. Which would then mean it needs that. Which would mean that would have to be black. Which would mean that this 2 would have to be white to lock into that. Which then just goes back in circles. 4 this way. 5, 6, 7, 8. Means that has to be black. Means that has to be black. Again, it's probably just easier to do 4 sites here. Yeah, but that's not gonna work either. Okay, we're a lot closer now. There definitely is a real danger of just getting trapped into spending way too much time on one single puzzle. You know that much has to be true, because these all have to be connected by light. That probably has to be true, that probably has to be true. Then when we start going down this route, that stops being true. Which I can imagine that being true. Two, 4, 6. I mean that has to be that way, and that has to be that way. Then that means this doesn't work. Can do that. And then I imagine it probably makes a lot of sense just to do that too. Maybe we do something like that. 2, 4, 6. And yeah, sometimes these are filling in some level of symbol, some symbol that might mean something, but I just never am really gonna know if it's a symbol that means anything or if it's just a symbol for the sake of having a symbol, or if it's just a pattern that happens to look close enough to a symbol, like the number 6. Do have a few of these still to engage with also, as far as sky drops. I definitely have a concern. That's another example of these sky drops are being hidden behind trees a lot. There's the last one of that. So did I get everything in this area? I have no clue. But I might as well move forward. We have 53 of 75 logic grids. We have a bunch of hidden rings. We're looking for... There is logic chains, which are these blue lines that still need to be done. There's a lot of sky drops, but I'm not sure at what angle you're supposed to be looking at the sky drops. This island has a lot more of a thing going on with it as far as edges on the islands. So we have to have exactly one symbol per dark area and one symbol per light area. So these two can't touch, these two could. That means immediately that that has to be that way, which pushes you at least in that direction or that direction. If this went that way, that would be fine. And maybe just for safety's sake, we will go ahead and do that. We do need a light here, but nothing's actually stopping me from doing something like that. No, there is something stopping me, isn't there? Every area, even though these symbols only tell you about what are in the orthogonal directions, up, right, left, down, every area needs a symbol. So we've got to connect this 3 to all the white spots we use here. And pretty much we can't do that. Okay. So this is making it more difficult than it seems. That's generally what needs to happen. But this one needs to see a white one either here or here. Or here and here. But this area looks at here and here. So if this was going to be that, then that would have to be that. And then I could circle around like that. Then I could... Well, that is locked to dark. So this dark here is either part of this, which doesn't seem like there really could be a way that that would happen. Because then that would have to make that light. And then maybe that dark. See, that wouldn't work. So let's just use a foresight and see. Well, if that is light, and that is dark, and that doesn't make any sense, and then that is light, and that somehow does make sense. Today is a new day, and still my brain is probably going to be closer to mush than not as far as the high level of difficulty on these puzzles. I don't think the game is going to hold back any punches. We'll kind of run past this whole area. I suspect you have to look from down there to solve that one. Should look here. See that that is a locked one. This is not, however. This is an underclued grid. Okay. And from that, we know that we can't be these two. So it kind of has to be that to get to 3. Because 1, 2 would also touch this. They can't be this 2, so we kind of know it has to be that. And then from that, we already have solved our 3, so that and that are dark. That wasn't unlocked the first time I went up this mountain. I may very well have to fly around the edges of the mountain multiple times. I almost wish and hope that what really is going to happen is that this enclave just is really way more difficult than the other enclaves in this area. Otherwise, the game is definitely putting us through the ringer. After we do all the enclaves, there's still a lot of stuff that can be done in this game. Total huge amounts of stuff. Okay. You must connect all light cells. It says there are 4 things we can determine from this underclued grid if all the light cells are connected. See, I have a thought that it probably just zigzags down here and zigzags down here, but it could also like zigzag down here and zigzag down there and zigzag down there. In any scenario we put it in, you would have to zigzag or go straight across, which makes it feel like that is the case. And I think that is kind of the assumption you're supposed to make here, is that because you can't make a 2x2 or a 2x1 dark puzzle pieces, you're actually only able to put whites in those spots, which inherently probably also means something. Some more things can be at least guessed towards. So, if that is the case, for 1, maybe it is also the case for 2. With the checkerboard pattern in the middle being another assumption that could be made. And I think that right there was a great example of how you can guess the right thing without a proper amount of understanding of a subject and still get it right sometimes, particularly if you're lucky and if you just guess based on pattern recognition. Any of these here would inherently mean that there's a work there, but pattern recognition would tell me to assume that there's a light one here, and a light one here, and a light one here, and a light one here. But I can only determine two things to be true, so it's not just evolution of what we just saw, not something that simply, at least. If it went this direction, could I wiggle my way that way and that way? No domino viewpoint trick. There's a subtle trick when dealing with viewpoint numbers and that don't make a domino shaped pattern. That's what they're calling that. In the example above, the two tiles diagonally right of the three could not be colored dark, otherwise the light neighbors would overload the three. Interesting. So, you have a little rocket ship pattern, or a phallic pattern, whichever you want to do. So then I would have to assume the same thing is taken from that point, which inherently one has to go up here, and one has to go up here, and one has to go up here, and one has to go up here, which means that is dark and that is dark, which then inherently tells me that is light and that is light. Just evolving the thought. And then let's see. If all things must be connected by light, then this and this can't be dark, but one of them can be. And this would then be dark. 3 out of 4 of these would be dark, and so if this was light, you would have to wrap around quite a bit. And I don't think you can expand it just to say there is just a checkerboard pattern that happens here, because there is no limitation there. You could totally have 2 whites here and 2 whites here and just a whole bunch of whites here. Is there anything we know for certain? If the 2 has to either be here or here, we know that is dark and that is dark. Then we know that and that is that way, which that inherently means either that or that is light. It can't both be dark. If this was light, this would have to be light. If this was dark, this would still have to be light. If this is light, then that would have to be light. If this was dark, then that still would have to be light. So you have a little axe shape or mask shape. That led us to some more puzzles, but the puzzles aren't part of the same logic chain. Okay, start with that. And if we have to connect all 2s together, then that has to go up in some way, such as that. Okay, we're a little off then. Not by too much. Well, at this rate, I do think I might be able to get everything done. Okay, well this one has to be 3. There's no getting around that. Then that means that has to be 3. Which means that has to be 3. Which means that has to be there. Okay. It's probably the case that that is it. This take the same thought though in that direction. And I imagine filling in the rest with white is all that's necessary. A lot of these puzzles we had already done. That just kind of curves around back to the spot. Can't do this one yet. Can do this one. So what do we know for certain? If this was 4, this would have to be white. If this went this direction, 3, 1, 2 would not work. But it could also go this direction and go 1, 2, which wouldn't work. Wow. So but see, I guess you could go 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, couldn't you? You could just go straight down and be 5. So what do we know for certain? There's no other rule here. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dark. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dark. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4, white, then dark. Let's just use the foresight because I don't see an option here. Maybe I overlooked that. 1, 2, 3, 4 can't go white here. So then that has to be white. That's the only thing we could really determine from that. See, I don't know if that actually unlocked another puzzle or not. This is a very tall climb up a tall tower. Did we hit that one? I think we did. Otherwise it wouldn't be so brightly lit. This is one of those games also where the brightness can vary, I think probably very highly, depending on how you have your monitor equipped and set up. Okay, well that's gotta be dark. I think inherently you have to do that. And I don't know how you do that then. You have to connect all light cells. Okay, that brings about an interesting question as to how you would pull that off. Guess you do it that way. Oh, here is a perfect example of one where the zoom in is getting really crazy. Yeah. I don't know for certain that it's that way. If we have to connect all light cells in here, then all of that has to be light. And there's no way that that is true. So, what I imagine you're doing is something closer to that. And then possibly something closer to that. And then I guess if we have to connect all light cells, that has to be dark. This 2 alone. Would have to do something like that, wouldn't it? That's kind of the only way that works. Let's see, then that also doesn't work. It's seeing too many of them. 4 or 3. Three. I'd have to stop there. Okay. One, two, three. That's too many. Would have to be that much. I'm not sure how you pull that one off. If we did that, then you would need that, and that would break that. Well, that wouldn't break that, and that wouldn't break that. Okay. So we're slowly expanding on all of this. But I do kind of feel like that is the end of that corner. Okay, well, this one would need 4. We need all the light cells to connect. So how do we pull that one off? Doing something like that? Nope. Still not gonna work. think we're probably close to being right on that one. But obviously we're not 100% right on that. Is there any possible way to separate this? Nope. It's gotta be that. Which means I need to be able to pull this back to something like that. Which then means I need to go that far. So that connects all of that. Wow. If this was going to do 6, just this direction, in this corner, since that number is so big, we'd have to do 1, 2, 3, and hit that. Apparently that I'm off somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, that has to be included, which means that has to be excluded, and I think that has to be excluded. 6. Well, this could be 7, 8. And then maybe that could be 9. Okay. That would put 1 there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lock in that. Is that connected there? So that's going to kill this 5. The only way the 5 works is if that is completely blocked. Okay. 8. If that was that way and that was that way, I would get to the 5. I don't think I have this correct. I think the 5 here plays a bigger role. Well, let's see if that is dark. How could this be light? That is dark. How can that be light? That will work with that. There we go. Not sure that that is correct. If that was there, then this one needs to go either up or down 1. I'd assume down 1. That puts this at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This 4 would have to go this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4 there and there. In all ways, none of this matters too much. It's just a stepping stone towards getting it to a point where I don't waste all of my foresights to get the last couple of solutions. Which inevitably will just be handed to me, I imagine. Okay. I don't think we can come down this direction. Yeah. Let's just see what the 6 can do. That's too much. And that puts the 6 in a rough spot. And that's too much. One, 2, 3, 4. We know one of these would go here, and the fact that there's extra room over here is probably a mistake. The fact that there's one here implies a mistake. The fact that there's one here implies there's a mistake. Honestly, there's a lot of room for mistakes here. If that is white, then maybe that is white. But then if that is white, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven, 8. Something like that. And then something like that. Maybe something like that. That's really the only way that connects there. Hmm. 1, 2, 3. Plus 1, 2, 3. Put a dark there. And have to do that. Also mean I'd have to do that. Which is probably not true. Let's use another foresight. So if that is dark, then it can't go down here. It's gotta either go here or here. Blocks off a section there. Here. Blocks off a section there. That is dark. That is dark. So that tells me something probably over in that section. Yeah, pretty much assume now that all interconnects in some way like that. Where is it? Okay. Don't know how any of that could be true, but maybe? And I've run out of cheats now, as far as trying to figure out the next step. Okay, so if this is going 3 and then 1 down here, that would already be 7, which means that at least that much has to be true. And then if this is going 3 and then this is going 3, that would be blocked off. So that much has to be true too. Which it feels like I've made this wall. And so if this is going down this way, that kind of has to go that way. But you can't do a full 5 here, because then it will just hit that. So you've got to do a 5 somewhere else. You kind of have to block that off. One, two, 1, 2, 3. Why is that not? I need one more, so. Interesting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Block all of that out. You kind of need it. You kind of need this to either block off that. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't be that one. Meanwhile, we still have a huge mess here as far as other obvious incorrect things. That, correct that much. That is dark. Interesting. Okay, so how do we even get to that solution then? If this is dark, that has to be white. That still has to be dark. That then has to be dark. These solutions are giving me are really revealing just more problems. Okay, if this was 4 this way, 5 this way, and then 1 there. Why not take that though? 4 that way, 1 there. That is dark. Disconnecting this whole section. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two, 4, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get us that far. I was supposed to do that. Apparently that's supposed to be dark. Okay. I don't know how these are all not connected, because a lot of it should be disconnected at this point. Guess that would connect things just fine. We did that. That would connect things fairly well if we did that. We would have to connect things closer to that. That's fine. Well, that at least expands things. Okay. Put it to the test there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And see, the problem here is there's not really a lot to do. I could wander around the island and try and refill the foresights, but there just isn't a secondary gameplay mechanic that really is intriguing here. Yes, you could go and look at the map and look at the long, intensive lists of puzzles that are nearly infinite in the game. We could look at the number of credits we have, depending on how the game has decided to cheat me recently, and buy an upgrade. Buying an upgrade isn't just going to instantaneously refill your foresights, though. You could look at the puzzle types, and yeah, it does seem like exiting out of the game probably does not mark the red dots as being read, because I have exited the game several times, and yeah. So we can play menu hero and just clear everything, but that too is not going to give you extra foresights. So if you hit a hard puzzle, you're kind of just stuck there. Some of these insights might be useful. You could potentially read all the lore fragments if you actually cared about the lore fragments, but that also would inherently mean you're either reading it out of order, or you're going to have to be at a point where you've unlocked everything. And then the only other option would be to come over and mess with different customizations. And you know, I recently finished playing Fallout New Vegas, and the fact that you can custom create a character, but then that custom character is locked in for the hundreds of hours you're going to probably play in Fallout New Vegas, and the fact that having those custom characters really doesn't mean anything in Fallout New Vegas. I should be able to be a lot more critical and say that this is a much better customization option, but it really isn't. I don't buy it for a second that this is adding anything for most players. The color palettes. I have criticized other games for not giving you a full color selection palette, but at a certain point also, why give me a grid when I'd like to just be able to type in a hexadecimal 0001 F5 type color code, and then I'd like to be that way you could copy the same character creation over and over between games. It is kind of crazy that Nintendo is the only company that has even begun to have I guess the guys can have the same hairstyles as the girls. Are these locked hairstyles? I'd think they would be, but maybe not. But yeah, Nintendo with the Mii's for the Wii was really the only company to try and make a standard there. At the very least, the Unreal Engine could have a standard for character creation that would be somewhat close. The Mii's were too simplistic and mostly rejected. Noticeably, the Nintendo Switch does not make you make a Mii after when you first set it up. Okay, that is dark. Well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I could have figured that one out myself. And that is dark. Wow. Suffice it to say, the custom character creator still not really adding anything to the game, other than it did let me just now kill some time. But honestly, video games need more going for them than it kills some time. I guess we've never been here, so let's talk to this recording or Oriole. I'm still not sure if these are supposed to be beings or the essence of beings that after some long amount of time, or just audio recordings. Probably the first. It cannot be that there are only two options. We seal away the fracture, or we let it consume you and the entirety of the known realm. The Oriole says, it is a sensitive decision, but perhaps there is a third option. And what is that? Guess that's the fracture. For all we know, if these are audio recordings, we're hearing audio recordings of something that happened a long time ago, and as such, the solution may have already been done, and creating the seekers may very well have been the solution. Now, if that was there, then that would have to go there. Switch that, and then lock that into that. And or lock it into that. I don't think it works that way. That won't work either. That wouldn't work either. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That won't work. Went that direction. Sorry about that. That has to be that way. That. locks all that in. There are 9 more puzzles in this area. Not too many. Fairly manageable amount. I'm going around the edges of these bubbles at the very least. All light regions have areas of 4. Which inherently means that is white and either this is white or this is white. I shouldn't mark it. This can't go down straight 4 that way, so it has to go that way. This has to see 4 too, so you can't curve off too much, which we don't have to connect things. We don't really have any other limitations, so I can kind of just do that and then yeah. Okay, wait. It does have to be like that, doesn't it? Because you can't have 2 seeing 4 that aren't lined up. And then that is going to put severe limitations on all of this. Is there one hidden sneakily up here? Nope. Just behind a tree. Let's see. 7. All light regions have a region of 4. Once again. Basically has to be like that. It can't be this way, it can't be this way, it can't be that way, it can't be that way, can't. That has to be dark at that point. And then that's too long. So it's either light here or light here. We don't know for certain. Then light here and light here. This would work. But we have to connect all light cells. Interesting. But you can't do that. Which means we have to do that. All dark regions have a region of 4, not light regions. Wasn't paying attention there. Okay. So we just are gonna have to play with this somewhat. This is a dark region of 4. Then we'd have to do something like that, but then that would have to be a dark region of 4 too, which I think probably does imply something closer to this is happening. Get that separated. Dull light regions. Okay, we're getting to it. That makes the most amount of sense. Let's see. If this has to go this way, if anything I've done so far is correct, which is probably a big if, then is there some other trick to how this would work? Well, you know, it's probably just easiest to see how far we take all this. So this is dark here. If that's the case, and this is dark here. And if that's the case, if that's dark there, we need to connect all light sections. How can we connect all light sections? Okay. Apparently doing it that way. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I've totally gone quiet as far as solving these puzzles. There's very little criticism left. All dark regions have regions of 3. Interesting. Doesn't that inherently walk us into something? All dark regions have a region of 3. How can that be true? I guess you could do something like that. The rest of these kind of don't matter. I guess you probably would be somewhat restricted though by regions of 3, dark regions. This probably does highlight an issue if you were to do the Skyrim thing or the Fallout thing, whoever you want to really attribute it to, in that both of those games are pretty bad about having mountains that you cannot climb and cannot reach to the top, but then they also have mountains that you can climb and can reach to the top of. But yeah, I guess the islands concept here prevents that cliche from being done, in that instead of looking past the edge of this area, we're not just surrounded by a bunch of walls in the form of mountains, we are instead surrounded by a bunch of nothing, and a bunch of nothing I guess is just easier to recognize and more difficult to challenge as far as video games go. We have to connect all dark cells. And we can't make a certain pattern. Which that is going to limit us. I'm close. Yeah. This is the case where one foresight will solve everything. I'm sure. I can just figure out what the move is. Even the really difficult ones I get stuck on tend to really only require one hint, one foresight. The concept of avoid in video games is definitely common enough and well known enough that I kind of do appreciate more games just having them. You can be artistic about it and make it lava or something else, but there's an inevitability there. It has to go there. And then it has to go there. This makes the symmetry of this have to be at least that much. I can go there, fine. Probably wouldn't hurt anything to just assume something like that. If that broke that apart, that's probably for the better. Now, here's the problem. That runs into an issue. Which then can be solved that way. And then can be solved that way. I guess I kind of like these pentads. I wish there was more of them in retrospect. If it was more of a case that every time you went to any enclave there was a pentad, and the pentad acted as a bubble in which you could always leave if you wanted to, but also a nice marker to say here is a section of places where content exists. Run around this area and you will find other kinds of puzzles. The pentad do have an interesting twist, and that doesn't make it particularly easy to look outside of the area, but that might actually be a good thing. It's funny, water's just coming from nowhere. This is a terrible hairstyle for the custom character creation. So there's 4 more puzzles, there are 5 more hidden rings, and there are 5 more sky drops. 4 more sky drops. Easiest thing now from this top spot is to fly towards puzzles. You can see. So this again is very much based off of a Sudoku variant, is at least how I would recognize this. And this is not too different from this, other than this is saying what it sees that are the same color before it sees an alternating color, and this sees the alternate color. So if this sees only 2 darks, then you know for a fact that it can't just be pure darks over here. It's probably not helpful information. Let's just start with what we can guess. If this was connected, that would be 5. So we know that there's a black either here, here, or here. And then that probably means there's 2 darks there. Yeah. Here and here. One of those 2 have to be dark. I think it's this pattern that is going to end up helping way more than anything else. Yeah, and there's no way that doesn't end up like that, I guess. But then this is wrong. So this has got to be right. 2, 4, 6. If this is right, then that is dark. And then you'd have to do something intense like that. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm just filling this in with guesses. Just blatant, almost certainly wrong guesses. Okay, what else do we have wrong? If we shot that up, we'd have to shoot that down. If we did that, then we'd have to do that. Either way, it seems like you have to do that in the long run. So we just have a lot that are wrong. Two, 4, 6. Three, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's a whole element here that would have to be dealt with as far as just the... You can't have a parallel line with this. It's gotta crisscross, doesn't it? Yeah. Which then puts us in a spot here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. Almost everything is right except for the number of black ones, which we can fix simply by doing that. I do have a concern here. Oops, we are not ready to do that one. I have a concern that the next puzzle area we enter is going to have a bunch of like scenic views or something that's a lot more complicated or just difficult for me personally. I could see a whole case where I ended up struggling. Alright, I'm gonna pause my recording. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It's been probably about an hour since I paused, so I may have to warm up again. One of the things I was thinking about, though, with the character customizer in this game is how much I think I really appreciate the idea of having a character evolve, get scars, get fatter, get skinnier, like Fable does. And plenty of other games have little elements of that too. Because at least then that directly connects your appearance to the actions in the game. Not all games do that, certainly, but I can see where that would add some value. I guess we'll fly over here and make sure we have done this one. And that leads me to finding one over here. Don't make a diagonal pattern. Well, that is going to make this fairly easy to start with. And then there's exactly one symbol per dark area. Okay. The diagonal pattern is going to synergize with the observational bits of information. Inherently, this has to be black, which then can say don't make diagonal patterns there, which makes that black, which then makes that no diagonal patterns there, which makes that black, which says no diagonal patterns there. The only difference then is that fills into that. That then means that's black. Feeding into that, we can just go ahead and jump somewhat to some assumptions there. And then, what else can we know? If I did one here, this would have to be white. If I did one here, this would have to be white. If I did one here, this could be white, and then this could be black. So, taking that same thought and applying it over here where that thought might actually be helpful, if... Nope, still same problem. This could be black, and then these two could be black, and this could be white. Or, this here, and this... Nope. This has to be white. Which then means all of these are black. Filling in that spot in that fashion. Okay. I played that incorrectly. And that just leaves us a little Tetris piece here as far as what else we could do. Which I don't see there's really a reason to put any black pieces there. Although we could have potentially solved it that way, I think. Although sometimes I get the feeling that I can solve it one way, and I'm not sure that's actually true. Don't make this pattern, which is a different pattern, but if I was to guess, Hmm. So these have to end at the same spot, don't they? I'm not sure I'm fully following the concept here. Yeah. I suspect it's probably something like that. But then you can't have that pattern. And you can't have that pattern. And you can't have that pattern. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I really have no clue here. Hmm. I guess maybe if we just kept on building, you might hit something. I have no idea what you're going to hit. Yeah, I'm not really seeing how you pulled this off. Anywhere I put a white one on this, whether it's here or here, is going to make that same pattern. Well, that does solve every issue. Almost. But then how do you get to that spot? Hmm. I'm so close. Let's just use a foresight and find that that apparently is completely wrong. And find that that is wrong. Wow. I was really close. Way closer than I thought it was. We have one more puzzle as far as a logic grid puzzle in this whole area. Which I guess that puts me in a pretty good position. On the other hand, as far as character creation goes, I also have to really admit that even in something like The Witcher 3, there was kind of an arbitrary hair-cutting ability that you could do to change Geralt to Rivia, the main protagonist's appearance. And I really didn't appreciate it. I didn't hate it, I wasn't offended by it or anything like that, but it was just... See, this is wrong. The bonus says 75, but there's more than 75 puzzles here. Darn it. We're going to end up doing, I bet, 100 or close to 100. Four more hidden rings. Also to find. But I suppose compared to Islands of Insight, a seeker, this nameless creature with no personality and seemingly programmed mentally to solve puzzles, because that's what I, as the player, am doing with it, is just nowhere close to the personality of Geralt of Rivia, particularly in Witcher 3, where they actually, I think, gave him a decent personality compared to, say, Witcher 2, which I played and found him a little rough and unfriendly, unlikable. Yeah, unlikable would be, I think, the best way to describe him in Witcher 2. There's a decent chance I'm going to end up just flying all over the world. I keep forgetting that I have the large jump. It'll take me directly to the top of high places. If I'm gonna land on these high places, I should look around and see if I see any rings or anything observable. So we solved this one. Yeah. And then we solve this one, and then it will just be, we should just focus on doing the other two bonus things that need to be done, the sky drops and such. There is a possibility this would observe 4 and this would observe 3. We have to connect all light pieces. Which doesn't that mean it has to be there or there? It could be that way. And then that way. I'm gonna just make some assumptions here. If it goes there, then it can't go there. Then if it goes down here, that would violate that, so it can't go that way, it can't go that way. It needs to either go this way we have to just have a checkerboard pattern here. Well, not a checkerboard pattern, really, but it has to be something more manageable. Well, that creates a weird situation. Again, I just am trying to solve this in a fashion that makes sense. So we're really close then now. Just be a matter of, let's see, switching this around. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Let's use one foresight. If that's true. So we get a Mariblis for doing the bonus. We need to find 3 hidden rings. Forget about the puzzles for the most part. And focus on hidden rings and sky drops. So we see a lot of sky drop orbs. It definitely feels like you'd be looking downward. It might very well be a case that you just need to land on something. This is still locked. That one's locked. That one's locked. That one's locked. Doesn't matter, we're not looking to solve those kinds of puzzles anyways. Okay, with the gliding, let's see if we can find something. Unfortunately, the problem here is if I happen to see a thing like I just did, I'm gonna want to get that logic grid. When you have only so much energy for the large tall jumps, I don't know if there really is a way to get up. So wait the 5 minutes it says it takes. I'm not sure it actually takes 5 minutes, but yeah, there's really just not a platform. Do you need to do any kind of parkour platform jumping? This is about as much as you can do. Is just try and get on ledges. Let's see. Symmetry, connect all the light pieces. Okay. So let's just go wild with this. Then. Almost all the light pieces are going to have to be connected and they're all going to have to be symmetrical. Which then tells me the best you can do is something along those lines. And yeah, that would be the totality of what could be. And it clearly isn't what is. Not exactly. You could do this and this. You could do this and this. You could do that and that. You could do that and that, that and that, that and that. And I guess you could do that and that. And so that would be the totality of what you could do. Which means this has to be black here. And then this has to be black, and 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 that has to be black. Okay. So from that, what are we supposed to observe otherwise? If I went 1, 2, 3, or even 1, yeah, I could do 1, 2. But I can't do 3 because I have to mirror anything I do. If I went 1, 2, 3 this way, I have to do at least that much. So we know that much is true. Then if I was to do 2 here, I could go here and do that. And I guess I could have gone all the way down also. But then this would stop that, wouldn't it? Best case scenario is you would go all the way down. So I don't even really want to think about this too hard because we know this is a super high difficulty puzzle, which seems like a 1 multi-pointed star is just the highest level of difficulty in the whole game. So it does just benefit me to do that much. Alright, now on the 7 point, I think we can also pretty well assume that even if this was to go down 2 here and 2 here, that'd be 2, 4 plus 3 for 7. And then on the 8 point, at the very least, that has to be black. Because I can only do 3 here and 3 here, which would be 6 plus 7 plus 8. So, for some reason that's black, which I don't see a real reason why that would need to be black, other than I would have to make me assume that that is black. So I'm going to jump to that conclusion. And that is black. For the same reason, I'm sure. 2, 4, 6. Could go all the way down to 7, 8. And so I'm going to waste all my foresights just being told that bit of information. Okay. That tells me that these 2 plus this makes that black. Because I couldn't really make it work any other way, as far as I could tell. But then that doesn't work. So that is wrong. So it's gotta go this way. Well, that creates a weird situation because I can't go here to satisfy that. I can go here. But the problem is I have too many connected now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So is it possibly that's the path? Okay. Then the only way this actually works is if we did that and that. But that won't work. And that won't work. And is this supposed to be a symbol of something? I don't know. Meanwhile, we were supposed to be looking for sky drops and rings. Let's just fly around and see if we see anything. one's locked also. That one's locked also. While I was solving that puzzle, I unlocked 2 more super jumps. Remember, we have a whole like combo bonus thing that sometimes triggers the sky drops, and chroma assistance that sometimes triggers, but neither one of them trigger fast enough or well enough that it's actually helpful. I think it would be more of a case where you probably should be able to trigger it yourself when you're ready. Two, 4, 6. Same thought, I think, goes here. That was another underclued section. We have 2 more rings. And definitely we have seen rings in the past that were just on the ground, hidden. This area is way larger than any of the other enclaves we've done so far. Still very uncertain as to what is the angle you're supposed to look at those sky drops on. Nothing seems even close to lining up. And then of course it's gonna just get annoying once we do the whole bonus section, because then the game is gonna say, well, you've got 5 more puzzles to find. That'll, in this area, be kind of frustrating. All the previous areas have been small enough where you wouldn't run around too much. Gotta be somewhere over here, I would guess. "60 seconds of chromatic." Which, yeah. How are the chromatic going to help me? And there's potentially only 1 sky drop left. There's a couple here. Felt like that dropped me to the ground. And that was my 60 seconds of chromatic sky drops. Proving itself to be very useless. Yeah, I guess you're probably standing here. Yep. I'm getting mirror blisters right and left. Shrug. Yeah, look at... Let's see. Look at the animations you have here. Shrug, heart, dust off, clap, bow, wave, check it out, thanks. Now, very generic things. Not even particularly specific to this kind of puzzle game or any kind of puzzle game. One would assume that you go around this path and you'll figure out most of this. Although I don't think this is going to be exactly 17 puzzles. I don't know why they specifically want you to get closer to the puzzles anyways, though. Like, I don't feel like I've seen a single scenario where if you could see it, you shouldn't be able to just solve the puzzle at that point. That one unlocked that one, so we're probably gonna have to trace these back. That one unlocked that one, and then that one unlocked. This one? Nope, it unlocked this one. I really don't even know how the locks work when you have two lines pushing on it. Does that mean both have to be unlocked to do the next puzzle? This is going to be a waste, but whatever. Or does it mean only one of the lines has to be unlocked? Also, see, we have two blue here. That's locked, that's locked. Where'd the blue go? There's a whole nother ring. It is questionable just what would have been the minimum number of times you would have had to gone through this whole area, even if you were perfectly aware of how everything connected. Because it does seem like it would have been a lot of times. This definitely feels like it's trying to waste the player's time as much as possible. I see a blue connects to that. I see a blue that's way up in the air. I see a blue that's only connected to that. So this is probably the last one. So if that is connected to that, then everything is connected to this one. And there's just two that happen to be kind of in the same spot. Fortunately, I don't have a jump up, and I really need it. It's either run around or wait. And waiting could take a long time. Yeah, as far as I would guess, there's probably a few rings. Yep. And other things to find. Maybe even a sky drop or two. It does say there's 17 puzzles left, and those can't all be logic puzzles, not unless there's just a whole different area. What do we know for certain? Is that possibly wrong? You know, either this goes all the way here in blocks at that point, or this goes all the way here in blocks at that point. That doesn't inherently mean both of those are dark, just that regardless of what happens, this can only be 4, which means those two have to be that, and those two have to be that. Which then, that means that has to be that. And something I have put here is wrong. So let's use a foresight. So the logic only took me this far to put the 2 black here, and then the logic on this meant that those 2 were going to be black. Okay. Good to know. This is a really terrible system. If this was white, and this was white, and this was white, and this was white. See, so inherently that could be that way, or that could be that way. Regardless, we know that that is black. Yeah. This is just an awful system because you're never going to know whether the puzzle it's pointing you to is one you've already solved or not. See, I'm going to try and cheat here a little bit. probably is just an easier way up there. There needs to be a third color or an energy spike that would have followed. Yeah, if this went here, then this couldn't go here, so that has to go here. And that has to go here. Something is uncertain. I think we already solved this one, didn't we? Yep. You would think the glowingness of the logic grids would be good enough, but they should probably glow a completely different color. That was easy enough to experiment with. Okay. So somewhere here, there is 10 remaining puzzles. 9 remaining, probably rings. I didn't spend a lot of time in this area, so kind of wouldn't make a lot of sense that there might be several things I missed. Might be something up there. So let's just put a marker there. I didn't spend a lot of time in this area either. Let's look on these outer edges. So there's almost 130 puzzles in this enclave. 130 puzzles of hidden cubes could be a nightmare in a different enclave. 130 puzzles of memory or melody puzzles definitely could be a nightmare. So I am very much concerned what the other 4 remaining enclaves are going to be. So you have 2 blue. This will be 3 more puzzles if we can solve it. We have to connect all the light pieces, which that makes, I think, some limitations here. There's no way that is right. Either it goes all the way down this way, which it can't. Jeez, how is this supposed to work? Well, that wasn't too much. Again, just white. So this is an underclued grid, which means all three of these could be white. One of these could be white. One of these could be white. But then this second pattern is going to play a role here. If this was white and then this was black, and then this was white and this was black, then this was white and this was black. That's the only thing that makes sense, isn't it? See, it has to be either that pattern, like this, or vice versa. Which I don't think we inherently are going to be able to tell either way. But it does mean this is black and this is black, which then means all of these and all of these. Okay. So, what is the next part of this? If this was white, then this would be black. If this was black, then this would be white. Or vice versa. Vice versa on all of those. Eventually, these would have to connect. Not sure I fully understand that one. Like, if this had been white, this would have been black, then it would have been surrounded by another white. But if this had been black, this being white, I don't think inherently meant that this would have to be white. Other than maybe the things have to connect, and that's the only way things can connect. Well, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Okay. If this went this way, everything would be black around it. So this too is following that same pattern where it would be vice versa. Such as that. So I'm assuming that's what happens here. But then either way this goes, there's going to be a black one between these two blocking this. So something like that pretty much has to happen. Interesting. Oh, I guess because of the domino blocking here, it had to come down this way. Okay, 4 puzzles remaining. And if I was to guess, there's a decent chance that they are in some kind of alcove. Yeah, the inner ring of this mountain would be where I would next have considered not really. I'm stuck. Talk about being stuck. Okay, well, that puts me in an awkward position. I could go back to that area and be thorough, or I can just ignore it completely and move on to the next area. And I think in this case, fate has decided for me to move on with the whole setup and just move to the next area. We have several enclaves in similar situations where you have to get really close to them to get these chromas to actually lock in. See, one is coloring the correct direction. I see none others. No others. And so you have to be at the right angle. Need the chroma key. Disabled there. Nope. Still got it going. Still not 100% sure that these don't just completely reset. Also, though, and as soon as you start to do one other thing, you're basically forcing yourself to lose any bonuses you would have had with the chromas. With the chroma sky drops. And we've not really been chasing after wandering echoes, so Leaves of Wind would be the next area. Sea Serpents seems to only have 12 puzzles in it. in total. Limber Cascades is here, Leaves of Wind is here. So let's go with that one. It makes a lot of logical sense to me to not get too enthralled with, let's see, yeah, not get too enthralled with any specific puzzles, particularly in this area. One symbol per light area. So you have a whole special platform here built. I assume this is just going to shoot you up really, really high. These memory ones, I think they went easy on the player. Thank goodness. I know personally I would have struggled quite a bit if they actually wanted me to do something really difficult. And yeah, the familiarity with this area is going to be extremely low. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that. We've got some towers of insight. We've got a temple here that I imagine leads to nothing really new. Some shy auras. I wonder if the shy auras are supposed to play some bigger role in the game. This is going to be quite the trick here. This is the inner and outer, the perfect matchbox. This thing is that just went all around it. Interesting. My assumption is that none of the symbols here, well, this may very well be the totality of the symbols, are in the cube. But I guess I'm wrong. 'Cause I'm seeing plenty of symbols here that are in the cube. Of course, there's some possibilities. When you look through the cube, you only see green. So, unless that green or that green gave me a symbol that would line up to that. And then it's definitely being sneakier. Not sure how many more of these you can really do without finding an extra cube. We have these abilities, we might as well use them. Which symbol is this? Very complicated symbol. You have to go through the cube for that one, which maybe means you need to go through a cube for another one. These fiddly perception ones. Some rings. Just a little bit of everything. What color are we looking for? It's going to match this. A green pair of boots. Wish I had a daily quest to do all of that. This one is diamond shape. Come on, where to go? Just saw it. So either you get that much, do that much. And the inner and outer is complete? No, it's not. There's still 6 more matchboxes in this trial area. Is this even the trial area, or is this an enclave? No, this has got to be a trial area. Yeah. So as far as all the matchboxes go, I would assume I've got to hit that one from quite the angle. One pair is counted. So there is 3 more pairs somewhere in this area. Which I see. One there and one there. Some floating foliage. That was too far, so we know in general direction. As far as just how far to go. This is a ledge, so unless they were going to be particularly mean and have a matchbox way over in the distance, I assume there's nothing on the ledge. I think we're going a little long today. Yeah, we're already at 3 hours. I shouldn't have started this extra. Or whatever. You can end on a sense of satisfaction, at least, I suspect, by actually finishing all, or at least most, of these puzzles. Interesting. That is one, but it's not part of the puzzle we're doing right now. That's a red herring. Let's get up high. See if there's something from a perspective there that would help. If all else fails, elevate yourself. possible it's supposed to be lower? That one's already been solved. And see, I thought I might even do those. That is going to be the next step. Now these trials inherently don't feel more difficult than the enclave I just did. So I wonder if trials aren't just going to be more of a connected system, group of puzzles. So just matchboxes instead of potentially matchboxes and something else and something else. It definitely looks like there's something. Something more. Yeah, you really can't get too far away. We have one here. One here, and one here. Well, that solves that one, so then that leaves me with only one. Is the other one possibly in the cube and I missed it? No. That does line us up nicely to have to only focus on one. And there it is. So Mariblis earned for doing the entirety of that trial. All 16 puzzles. And that is a great point to end this episode. Here we have some Indian inspired puzzles or statues. But then you run into problems here when you have like serpent-like sculptures on statues and you have humanoid-like sculptures or monkey-headed humanoid-shaped characters or just Aztecian god type characters. How does any of that make sense in this world where there seems to really be only the Oriole as a god and really only one seeker when you're playing in single player mode, and what would just be a deluge of annoying other multiplayers if you were playing online? Yeah. The sales point of saying that there's 10,000 plus puzzles is about the only thing that makes the MMO concept make sense, really. That they wanted it to be this collaborative effort. I guess we are going to Limber Cascades, not Leaves of Wind, because that's where I'm standing after all. There's still massive amounts of things to do, 4 more enclaves. As far as upgrades are concerned, if I got 50 more sparks, I can get Echo Resonance, which capturing wandering echoes without ever returning to the start would give me 50% more sparks. It's okay. As long as I keep playing, even with the glitch, I will definitely unlock all of these upgrades, and they will prove, as they have been proving, to be completely useless. We still haven't seen this final puzzle type, which might actually be shifting mosaics, because I'm not sure we actually have that. It's kind of hard to read from 8 feet away looking at a TV. This is not really a game that's designed for laid back couch gameplay, when as an MMO it would make more sense to have more laid back couch gameplay, and certainly as a game that's claiming to have 10,000 puzzles in it, it would make more sense to do that. Yeah, shifting mosaics, I guess, are the final puzzle in the whole game. And with that, we may unlock the last thing we needed to unlock to get all the insights, but a lot of these insights are clearly just because I didn't do Towers of Insights. Horror fragments are not coming very fast. Echoes of Time are not coming at all, really. Same is true for mysteries. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is just this danger that at the end of every episode I'm gonna say there's a lot more games still to go, until I finally either am unable to say that or just lose interest in going any further. Because, yeah, who knows how far. If we get all the enclaves done, if we get all the mysteries, if we 100% all the enclaves, if we get the all-seeing monoliths and they don't start highlighting where puzzles are, then that's going to make wandering around the overworld very difficult. And we're still not sure if there's even a finite number of puzzles in the overworld sections, or if they just constantly respawn. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.